Delhi's COVID-19 R-value crosses 2, shows an IIT study. Every person with COVID in Delhi is now infecting 2 others. Amravati MP Navneet Rana and husband MLA Ravi Rana arrested in Mumbai for inciting communal disharmony. They had announced that they would chant the Hanuman Chalisa at Matoshri. Finally dropped the plan only to prevent a law and order situation ahead of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Maharashtra. Temples, shops, homes demolished in Rajasthan now. BJP delegation reaches the site in Alwar beyond the political blame game. NDTV speaks to the common man who's suffering the consequences of the politics of demolitions. The government will now dilute 3.5% of its shares in LIC for 21,000 crores subject to regulatory approval. In draft red herring prospectus, the government had proposed a sale of 5% of equity. There was high drama in Maharashtra in Mumbai where the Amravati MP Navneet Rana and her husband, the MLA Ravi Rana, were arrested by the Mumbai police from their home amidst high drama hours after the couple cancelled their plans to recite the Hanuman Chalisa outside the Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thakrae's private residence. The Ranas were booked for promoting disharmony. Now, in a tit-for-tat FIRs, the duo has given a written complaint to the Mumbai police requesting them to book the Chief Minister, Shiv Sena leaders like Sanjay Raut and Anil Parab, and all 700 people who they say were present outside their residence. Both of them are independent legislators from the Vidarbha region in Maharashtra.
Independent MP Navneet Rana and MLA husband Ravi Rana being taken away and then arrested in Mumbai after their standoff with the Shiv Sena. The couple had enraged the Shiv Sena, leading to violent protests after they announced on Friday that they would chant the Hanuman Chalisa outside Chief Minister Uddhav Thakrae's house at 9 a.m. on Saturday, questioning the Sena leader's Hindutva. This led to Sena workers protesting outside the Rana house today. Some even tried to break into the house. But despite this, the Ranas were adamant on their plan.
मैं नीचे भी जाऊंगी और गेट के बाहर भी जाऊंगी और मातोश्री के बाहर हम हनुमान चालीसा का पाठन भी करेंगे. उसमें कोई भी हमें रोक नहीं सकता है.
ऐसा है कि कुछ बातें भारतीय जनता पार्टी स्वयं नहीं कर सकती, तो इसलिए उन्होंने ऐसे लोगों को अपॉइंट करके रखा हुआ है. ये सब नई एम्प्लॉयमेंट है इनकी. ये सब बेकार लोग थे, सब बेकार बैठे थे घर पे, तो उनको कुछ न कुछ काम देना था, तो इनको काम दे दिया है.
वो राणा पति और पत्नी 2 लोग क्या कहा उन्होंने, हम जाके हनुमान चालीसा बोलेंगे. अगर जाने देते किसी कोने में जाके हनुमान चालीसा बोलते, घर जाते, न कोई न्यूज बनती, न कोई उसका कोई इम्पैक्ट होता.
But a few hours later, a change of heart. And the Ranas announced they would not go to Matoshri as they did not want to disturb the Prime Minister's visit to Mumbai tomorrow.
हमारा जो उद्देश्य था कि मातोश्री में राम का, बजरंगबली का और हनुमान चालीसा का नाम आना चाहिए, वो कुछ शिव सैनिकों ने, जिनके बाद बाला साहब के थोड़े से कुछ विचार बचे, उन्होंने जो किया है उस पे से लगता है मुझे जो विघ्न महाराष्ट्र को लगा है थोड़ा कम होगा. भले ही हमको रोका है यहाँ पे, पर हम कोई डरे नहीं है. हम यहाँ पे पंतप्रधान जी आ रहे हैं, आम जनता को तकलीफ हो रही है, कायदा सुव्यवस्था बिगड़ रही है, इसलिए हम लोग आज यहाँ पे हमारा ये जो हनुमान चालीसा का जो पाठ करने वाले थे मातोश्री पे, लोगों की चिंता है, कायदा सुव्यवस्था बिगड़ चुकी रही है और पंतप्रधान जी महाराष्ट्र में आ रहे हैं, इसलिए हम यहीं पे इसको खत्म करते हैं.
Despite cancelling their plan to chant Hanuman Chalisa outside the Chief Minister's house, the couple has been arrested for allegedly trying to promote enmity. They will be produced in court on Sunday. With Sohit Mishra in Mumbai, Bureau Report, NDTV.
And here's a story with some worrying numbers. Delhi's R value, which indicates the spread of COVID-19 records, stands at 2.1 this week, implying that every infected person is currently infecting 2 others. This is according to an analysis done by IIT Madras. The R, or reproductive value, indicates the number of people an infected person can spread the disease to, and a pandemic is considered to end if the value goes below 1.
India has reported over 2,000 daily COVID cases for the past 4 days. a significant rise from the first week of April when the average cases were around 1,000 a day. The largest contributor in fresh cases has been the national capital in the past 2 weeks. Not surprisingly, Delhi's R value is now 2, which means each positive case is infecting 2 others. On Friday, Delhi reported 1,042 cases, over 40% of the overall cases in the country. COVID situation in Delhi has sharply deteriorated in the past 1 week. Delhi's pandemic reproduction rate now 2.1, says IIT Madras study. Daily COVID cases reported on Friday, 1,042 from 366 a week back, a rise of over 284% in a week. Active cases up to 2,241 from 706 in a week. Positivity rate up to 4.64% from 3.95% in last week. Delhi's R value was last under 1 on March 28. An R naught of 2 in the national capital means each and every COVID-19 patient will infect at least 2 others, which means that the number of COVID-19 cases in the upcoming days will rise sharply. An R naught below 1 means that the pandemic is under control, and this was the case in the month of March. But looking at the crowd behind me, it doesn't look like the R naught is going to come down anytime soon. Experts warn against laxity in COVID-appropriate behavior.
The number of COVID cases is definitely on the rise, and this is happening when we are trying to live our lives normally with lesser restrictions and without the masks. We have again been struck by a subvariant of the Omicron. This virus has an R of 2, while the virus in January had an R of 7 to 10. That means if in January one patient was infecting 7 to 10 people, so far the current one is allowing one patient to spread it to 2 more individuals.
Hospitalization, however, still remain low in Delhi, with only 68 patients admitted to hospitals out of 2,241 active cases.
Look, in our OPD we have observed that patients are coming with dryness of eyes, dryness of mouth, with joint pains, with muscle pain, and these symptoms are found in certain conditions like Sjogren's syndrome, rheumatoid arthritis.
Hopefully, with masks becoming mandatory in Delhi again, the situation should improve. In Delhi, with camera person Xavier Thomas, Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
And the political temperatures are sizzling in Rajasthan's Alwar too, as the BJP and the Congress face off over the demolition of a temple in the Rajgarh town of Alwar. But along with the temple, 86 homes and shops were also demolished, leaving scores with their homes half demolished and in some cases their only source of income completely razed to the ground.
60-year-old Anita Sharma is a widow and has no family support. Her only source of income, a shop now demolished that she used to rent for 4,000 rupees a month.
क्या करेंगे अब हमारे पास तो कोई गुजारा भी नहीं है, कोई आसरा नहीं है, अब आप ही हो हमारे तो मालिक।
नहीं, ये जो घर था इसके सामने क्या था, दुकान थी, कैसे पैसे आते थे?
दुकान थी, नहीं वो किराया आता था, नहीं उसी से तो गुजारा चलता था।
कितना किराया आता था?
4,000 रुपए आता था।
Further down the road in Manju Jangir's 3-story home, the staircase has been completely destroyed. The house is now shaky, and what's worse, elders of the family, including her 90-year-old mother-in-law, are stuck on the first floor. The only way up and down is this unsteady ladder that is a risk to climb.
मंदिर के बारे में तो सब सोच रहे हैं, मगर जो जिंदा इंसान है उनके बारे में तो सोचें, उनके बारे में तो कुछ करें। हमारे लिए बहुत परेशानी हो रही है, खाने पीने की न कोई सुविधा है, न कोई पानी की है। हमारा वो कट्टा भी नीचे डाला है, अब कैसे डाल के आए उसको ये जो।
Ever since the bulldozers rolled into Rajgarh town on Sunday the 17th of April, 86 homes and shops were demolished to make way for a road. The political pitch has been raised over this temple, which was also partially destroyed.
ये जो कांग्रेस पार्टी की जो सोच है, बरसों पुरानी सोच है, हिंदू धर्म को दबा के रखने वाली, ये अब क्लियरली सामने दिखाई दे रही है। दूसरे धर्म नहीं है, दूसरे फेस्टिवल नहीं हो रहे, दूसरे त्योहार नहीं हो रहे, क्लियरली तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति हो रही है।
But in the searing heat, with no electricity and the water supply completely disrupted, people are left trying to guard homes with no doors and beat the heat with no power.
सोमवार को शाम को हमको वो मिला था और मंगलवार बुधवार का सब सिर्फ टाइम था। उसके बाद बुधवार से 4 दिन का छुट्टी थी हम एटीएम साहब से मिले, एटीएम साहब से कहा कि साहब हमको टाइम दे दो थोड़ा, बोला टाइम नहीं दूंगा मैं, 4 दिन की छुट्टियों में करके जाऊंगा मैं, सुबह 6 बजे बुलडोजर चल जाएगा, अपने अपने मकान खाली कर लो और यहाँ जाओ, टाइम मत खराब करो।
The Congress delegation has in turn blamed the BJP-led municipal corporation in this town for ordering the temple demolition and has also filed a police complaint for hurting religious sentiments of a community.
उनका चेयरमैन के ऊपर क्या कार्रवाई करी उन्होंने? आज चेयरमैन भागा हुआ है। हमने पुलिस एसएचओ से निवेदन ये किया है कि तुरंत इसके ऊपर कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए, इन लोगों को अरेस्ट करा जाए। आज फरार हो गए हैं ये।
The political pitch has been prepped with the demolition of a temple in Alwar's Rajgarh town. But nobody is talking about these homes destroyed, people left with no doors to lock their belongings in, no water, no electricity. In some cases, livelihoods turned to rubble. And as the BJP and the Congress fight it out, there is no talk of rehabilitation, let alone compensations for these 86 homes and shops destroyed. With camera person Sanjay Kaushik in Alwar, Harsha Kumari Singh for NDTV.
And the big business story, the LIC board has approved a cut in its initial public offering issue size from 5% to 3.5%. That's what NDTV has learned from sources. The government will now be diluting 3.5% only of its shares in LIC for 21,000 crores, subject to the approval of the capital markets regulator, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, or SEBI, of course. Now, in the draft red herring prospectus, the government had proposed a sale of its 5% of equity, right? This would have valued LIC at 6 trillion rupees. Earlier, government estimates had called for the insurer to be valued at around 17 trillion. Now, the drastic lowering of ambitions for the IPO, which would still be India's largest to date, is being seen as a setback for the government, which had positioned the sale as the first and the biggest of a wave of privatizations aimed at replenishing state coffers. And Prime Minister Modi will be visiting Jammu and Kashmir tomorrow to address a major public rally on the occasion of the Panchayat Raj Day. This is going to be Prime Minister Modi's first political visit to Jammu and Kashmir, of course, after the region was stripped of its statehood and special status. That was in August 2019. And now NDTV's Nazim Masoodi is reporting that the Jammu and Kashmir police say there have been some desperate attempts by terrorists to disrupt Prime Minister Modi's rally. Nazim, what do you have?
Well, yesterday we all saw how there was a major attack in Sujma, which is a major army base there, and out near that army base there was a major attack. First on the CISF, in which one CISF officer was killed and 4 other security force persons were injured. And eventually in the encounter, 2 militants who, according to police, were a part of suicide squad. They were suicide attackers, they were killed. Now police are saying, based on the investigation, they have picked up 2 people, one a truck driver who has picked these attackers from in Samba area and then dropped them near the army facility in Sujma, and they were going to take a shelter at another person's home in the same area. So those 2 people have been arrested. Based on the investigation, police are saying that they are actually desperate, and they are saying very desperate attempts to disrupt Prime Minister's rally at Pali village tomorrow. Around 1 lakh people are expected to attend the rally. There are thousands of Panchayat members to attend the rally. Tomorrow's rally is to mark the National Panchayati Raj Day, which Prime Minister is going to address from Pali village. Not only that here the large number of people will attend the rally, but all the Gram Sabhas from across the country will attend that virtually as well. And at this time we see first major attack in Jammu city near an army facility. 1 CS officer was killed there, 4 others were injured. It is a very, very serious attack, and now police are saying desperate attempts to disrupt Prime Minister's rally. They have been literally on toes to ensure that nothing goes wrong. There's a huge security arrangement around the rally site, and also to ensure that all those people who are attending the rally reach there safely and everything goes safely. But it's after a long time, we see such a serious threat on Prime Minister's rally. But the police are saying they have arrested 2 people who were facilitators of these suicide attackers, and more arrests are expected.
All right, thanks Nazir. I'm sure you'll be monitoring the situation closely. We look forward to more updates from you and reports throughout the day. Meanwhile, Nazir was earlier in that Pali village near Jammu, where Prime Minister Modi will be addressing the rally, and here's why Pali has been picked for the PM's address.
There's a reason for people in Pali village to be happy. Prime Minister is inaugurating this solar power project which will provide 24/7 clean energy to this village, and it will become first carbon neutral solar panchayat in Jammu and Kashmir, first panchayat.
बड़ी खुशी हुई कि ये एक पहला विलेज है पंचायती राज में जिसके अंदर सोलर पावर प्लांट दिया गया इंडिया के अंदर लमसम। तो ये खुशी की बात है कि पीएम मोदी का प्रयास रहा और ये सफल भी रहा।
रूपलाल जी, क्या हुआ? अब प्रधानमंत्री आ रहे हैं तो आप कितने
बहुत खुश हैं सर, बहुत।
क्यों खुश है आप बताएं?
सर बहुत डेवलपमेंट हुई है, उनके आने की जैसे भी खुशी हो, हमारे को तो भगवान का रूप लगते हैं वो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री। बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं हमारे को, भगवान से भी ऊपर अच्छे लगते हैं वो साधु संत।
तो हमें बहुत अच्छा लगा, मोदी जी आ रहे हैं तो सभी खुश हैं। इधर हर मतलब कि इधर कभी सोचा भी नहीं कि हमारे पल्ली गांव में भी ऐसा कभी होगा।
Prime Minister is coming here to celebrate actually Panchayat Raj Divas, Panchayat Raj Day, and there would be around 30,000 Panchayat members, what we have been told, to come here and attend this rally, and large number of Panchayats across the country will listen to Prime Minister through virtual, will attend this rally through virtual mode as well. So a huge event here in this village, Pali village, in Samba district near Jammu, a celebration for the people, because a small village getting such a huge limelight. Prime Minister is coming here celebrating Panchayat Raj Divas, and then not only they're getting the clean energy now, 24/7 power supply in a place which has a perennial power problems. It is Prime Minister's first visit to Jammu and Kashmir, political visit to Jammu and Kashmir post abrogation of Article 370. So Prime Minister inaugurating several projects, development projects here in Jammu and Kashmir. But this is something, this 500 kilowatt solar power project, which is going to give, electricity to the entire Pali village.
And Indonesia's ban on palm oil exports beginning the 28th of April has rattled Indian markets. Indonesia meets about 45% of India's annual palm oil demand, and many reports say that the ban has been put in place to check soaring domestic prices of the commodity.
In a shock move, Indonesia, the world's top palm oil producer, declares plans to ban exports of the widely used vegetable oil. From cooking to cosmetics, palm oil is part of everyday life. India's edible oil prices, already high, are set to spike as Indonesia's ban on exports comes into effect from April 28th. Experts believe India's options with regard to crude palm oil are limited for something used in everything, from shampoos to spreads, by the pharma and automobile industry as well. And perhaps paying a steep rate to Malaysia may be the only other option for India's significant palm oil needs. At a time when global oil prices have surged this year due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and supermarkets across UK have begun placing limits on how much cooking oil customers can buy due to the supply constraints, Indonesia's latest move on banning palm oil exports to protect price points at home is likely to hit India significantly. Sakshi Bajaj for NDTV.
And finally, Hollywood star Will Smith, the Academy Award-winning actor, was pictured at Mumbai's Kalina Airport this morning. That's on Saturday morning. This isn't Will Smith's first visit to India. The actor has been here in 2019 for the shooting of his reality show, The Bucket List, and then he met with Bollywood stars, shot a segment with the team of Student of the Year 2. He also visited Haridwar. On the professional front, of course, Will Smith has been banned from attending the Oscars for the next 10 years. The Academy took disciplinary action against the King Richard star, who slapped and swore at the Oscar presenter Chris Rock for a joke he made at the expense of Will Smith's wife, actor Jada Pinkett. That's the news at this hour. Bye-bye.